We're producing incredible content we don't want you to miss. It's free. Click subscribe for mobile and email updates about great new videos so you can get the most out of your ButcherBox.
Hey everyone, I'm Yankel, and today I'm going to show you how to get the most out of your charcoal grill, specifically when you're cooking awesome ButcherBox steaks. Couple of things to think about. So we're working with your pretty standard egg-shaped grill, and I want a lot of good airflow. So I've got the flue open at the bottom before I light the grill. And what we're going to do is set up a couple of different heat zones. So we want something really hot, and then we want a cooler spot. I'm going to show you how to do that. One more point, I like to mix hardwood with my charcoal, and that gives me much higher heat and really good smoke flavor. When I was a kid, my dad used to make me arrange each piece of charcoal in a perfect grid. The theory was right because it generates a ton of airflow, it lights a lot faster, and you get that gray that you need to cook with hot charcoal much quicker. Well, I'm not opposed to quick lighting coals because they light really fast and they work great. Although I don't use lighter fluid because it tastes like however, a blowtorch is a lot more fun. Here's one of my tricks for perfect grill marks and a grill surface that never sticks. It's called a grill rag, and we're gonna tie it up and soak it in oil. Roll it up nice and tight. Just gonna drop it into the oil, let it soak a little bit of that up. One of the benefits of oiling the grill surface rather than putting oil on your steak is you don't have the flames shooting up to grab the steak. All right, we're gonna set up 2 different heat zones. So what we do is we're gonna move all our coals over to one side. And you can see they're ready. They've got gray on the top. That means they are hot. And I want 2 very distinct areas. I want one area that's gonna be scorching hot. We're gonna sear on that side. And I want the other area to have almost no coal underneath it, where we can either finish the cooking or we can temper thick steaks, where we're gonna put them over on the cool side first. Well, it's time for the fun stuff. We're gonna grill our steaks. I've got some big, beautiful ButcherBox grass-fed ribeyes, and we're gonna try them in 2 ways. So we're gonna start one in the cool part of the grill, let it come up to temp, and then give it a quick sear to finish. The other one we're gonna sear right away, and then move it to the cool side to finish cooking. We'll see what happens. Right before I go onto the grill, I like to do one more coat of oil. And as soon as that burns down, we put our steaks on. So I'm gonna put the first one all the way in the cool zone. And the second one is going right over the coals. So the steak in the hot zone's getting instant contact with the heat. It's gonna sear real quick. It's gonna start the cooking process, and then we're gonna move it to the cool zone and let it finish coming up to temp. And the one in the cool zone is gonna come up to temp slowly. It won't have a very hard sear, if at all. It'll just have a little bit of surface contact. And then when it hits about 100 degrees, we're gonna move it to the hot zone and finish it. Now the one in the cool zone, we just want to keep it moving. We don't want it to cook too much in any one direction. So I'm going to move it around a little bit before we move it to the searing side. The one in the hot zone, because it's so close to the fire, we don't want it to burn, but we want that good contact. We're looking at about 30 seconds before your quarter turn, and then a total of a minute on one side before I flip it. So I think we're ready to flip it. For our last quarter turn, we're moving it to the cool side. And right here, it's gonna finish cooking. We're looking at already around rare, cooks real fast. So from a practical standpoint, the difference is if you're using a thick steak and you want more of that red color, let's say you're cooking it to medium rare, then you start it low because that'll allow more of the inside to cook before you start cooking the outside. If you're using a thinner steak, you might as well go hot all the way. And then just bring it over to the cool side to let it come up to temp at the very end. Well, if you don't know it yet, now I'm telling you, Thermapen is the way to go. This thing is magical. It is the fastest and most precise way to take temperature of a piece of meat. Stick it in. You can watch the meat cook. It is just incredible. And we are almost at medium rare. I bought one, then I gave them a call, then they sent me a bunch more. I love Thermapen. So the steak that we seared first, about 115 degrees and rising, getting close to medium rare. I'm gonna pull that off and let it rest. Meantime, our other steak, pretty well tempered. We're looking at just around 100 degrees. So we're gonna move that over to the hot spot, give it a quick sear. Now what often happens with the ribeye is as the fat begins to render, you can catch your grill on fire. Not uncommon, just when you see flames, pick it up, move it to another area. You may have to do that a couple of times. If you're not getting brown crust like that, your grill is not hot enough. And we're gonna pull this baby off. All right, we're gonna slice into the steaks and see if there's any difference between the two methods. Side by side, we have low and slow, then high heat, then low and slow. Low and slow gives you more of that rare surface area. High heat gives you a little bit less and a little bit more overcooked on the sides. Personally, for a thick steak, I prefer to start it low and slow and then sear it really high at the very end. I think you get a more tender steak and you definitely get more rare to medium rare surface area, which tastes a lot more delicious to me. And you still get that beautiful, rich texture at the top of the steak where it hits the heat. As you can see, there's a lot more to it than just throwing your meat on the grill. Hope you learned something. I'm Yankel. See you in the next one.